So what's going on, guys? Welcome back for another episode. This episode was supposed to be, hold on, it's kind of dirty. This episode was supposed to be about going out to Vegas Drift and going out drag racing. However, today, which is the 7th, we're supposed to go drifting and drag racing in 2 days. The owner of Vegas Drift said that Las Vegas Motor Speedway had canceled both events. So we ain't doing that anymore, but instead I have the car all torn apart, and we have a nice little package right here from Treadstone, and I'm about to show you guys what I just got, which those of you that have dealt with Treadstone probably already know what it is, but I'm super happy about this because that means that we can run more power. So that's your hint right there. And I'm not trying to show you guys my address, so let's go ahead and just cut right to it. I must say that this thing is very well packaged. There's a box inside of a box with some styrofoam as insulation, which I would sure hope they did it this way because it can get damaged fairly easily. So here we go. Oh, this is so exciting. So this is a TRST9. It's a bar and plate design that's 3.5 inches thick versus my old setup, which is a tube and fin design, and it's only 3 inches thick. This thing is rated for 1,300 horsepower. It's got a regular 3-inch inlet over there, so that will adapt just like how it does right now. But we have a single 3-inch outlet going straight to the throttle by from right here in the center rather than coming around and up. So there's going to be quite the modification to make this thing work, but I'm super excited to get it on the car and get the car retuned to see what power we can make with it. So yeah, let me go ahead and get this thing all mocked up and see where we sit, and then we can start fabricating up some mounts and redoing the charge pipe. So let's get to it. So I got the intercooler sitting in a place that I'm happy with. I don't have any brackets on it or anything, but I figured there's going to be 3 issues that are going to arise when I actually build brackets and try to put everything back together per se. The first one being is that I think I'm going to have to cut some more of the bottom side of this air dam, just because that intercooler, when I had it on the car, it was resting right up on the back side. Mind you, I had already cut it to fit that intercooler, so cutting it just a little bit more, I believe it's going to be 1/2 inch, just because this intercooler is 1/2 inch larger than that one. That shouldn't be that big of a deal, but you can see like right here where I cut it and ran it all the way down and back up to the other side. So yeah, that shouldn't be anything too difficult. Same thing with right up here. This is the second issue that I knew was going to happen. Obviously we have a center outlet now, so I'm going to have to round this out and hope that there's enough of a gap right here to where the bumper can go back on the car, and this will just come out the top. I'm going to have to cut the hood pin, and theoretically the hood should close, but we'll see how that works. The third and main concern is this gap right here. That's about 4 inches, and the distance between the blow-off valve and the intake air temperature sensor, with 1/2 inch of a gap for the clamp, is 8.5 inches. So I'm going to have to cut off some of each coupler in order to push it back and give us that space. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with where the intercooler is sitting. There's tons of room over here for a 180-degree bend coming off the turbo down into the intercooler, and then the intercooler has a nice amount of space to where it's not going to hit the fog light cup. So with that being said, I'm going to tear it apart and try to get some sort of bracket on this thing to where it's going to hold it, and I'll start piecing everything back together then, and trimming up where I need to trim up and trying to get this thing to work. So let's get to it. right, you guys saw it here first where I cut up a bed frame, used some steel stock and some good old Harbor Freight clamps to get it up off the floor. It's not perfect, but this will give us a good judgment on the adjustments that we have to make. It's not centered, so I believe it's a little bit closer on this side by maybe a 1/4 inch or so. But I did cut off the hood latch, and when I bring it down, it barely touches it, like an 1/8 or maybe even a 1/16 of an inch. So if I drop it down a 1/4 of an inch, it should be good to go. However, with it sitting in its current state and it still has to drop down just a smidge, it is maxing out on the bottom side of the front bumper. But good thing we have a lip to where we can cut all this off. The intercooler can drop down, the lip will actually cover it up, and it should seat perfectly fine. So when I tried to scoot it back, I measured out this. I took one of the old silicone couplers I had, lined it up in there, and then I'm actually going to cut maybe like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch out, just so that gives us space to where it won't chafe through the clamp. Next. I don't think there is a next. So let me go ahead and start cutting some of this crap off, and we will try to get the front bumper fit up. If we could get it fit up, then we'll start building the charge pipe. So here we go. All right, so I don't know exactly where I left you guys, but I have the intercooler 100% mounted and is perfectly squared in the fore and aft position as well as the side to side. Here it is on the front bumper. I have it fit perfect. It's butted right up against it. And then here's how far it sits down from the lip, which I'm perfectly fine with that. It fits a hell of a lot better than what I initially thought it was going to be. So the way the intercooler is mounted is with this steel channel. It's a lot stronger than what the angle iron that I planned on using is going to be. And right now I just have the front bumper resting on it. But as you can tell, I utilize the old intercooler brackets because it has a 10mm bolt right there, 10mm bolt on the inside right there that you can unbolt and remove it completely from the car, so we won't have these tabs sticking out in case I want to bring the engine forward. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's the channel that I was talking about, and there's how it's all set up. So now we can get to building some charge pipe, but of course I'm waiting for parts. I was going to use that stuff, but I ended up getting some thicker stuff because that stuff was extremely hard to weld. And plus, I messed up because I cut the couplers too short. So I have a new, longer 45-degree coupler coming, and then I'm probably going to actually use a 90 on this one and make it do like a swoop up. And then I'll also re-weld the bung closer to the blow-off valve on the new stuff, and that will tidy everything up in the engine base. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted when parts get here. So I got a little anxious and ahead of you guys, but I ordered 2 of these little 45-degree elbows. As you can see, my buddy was kind enough to let me use his miter saw, and we chopped up a whole bunch of 15-degree pie cuts so we could try to piece something together to wrap around that coupler up to the turbo. As for this piece right here, I'm kind of liking how it's sitting. The hood still closes, and we can mount the blow-off valve somewhere on the side, as well as the coolant or the intake air temperature sensor really close to it. So that seems like it's going to be promising. As for this, that's going to need some work. So I'm going to practice a little bit on one of these pieces and see how it turns out. Try to get the welder dialed in. Once I get dialed in, I'll throw you guys on a time lapse of it, and hopefully we can make something happen. So let's get to it. All right, so here's a quick little tip for any of you wanting to do pie cuts like so. You give yourself reference points as soon as you get it lined up in the car where you want. Just draw a couple of them, and then when you go to put it on the bench, you can line those things up and tack them together and then recheck the fitment. So yeah, I am by no means a master at pie cuts, but this is what works for me, and it hasn't failed yet. So here we go. Well, I had the part made, and then I got kind of anal. I tried to weld this, well, let's back up a little bit. I tried to cut off, where is it? I tried to cut off this side, right here at the bead. And I was gonna weld this on just so the clamp has a little extra meat to grab the bead, because as you can tell, right there, it gets really thin for not enough for the clamp to really hold on to. This side was good. And then I started lowering it down, and all of a sudden it just sucked it up and exploded, dude. I'm lucky I didn't lose my hand, but it's not going to stop me. You know, I still have this little piece that I can try to make something work with, and then I'll find a way to magically roll a bead on the outside. But I'm going to cut some more 15 degrees and start all over. So here we go. All right, so here it is all tacked up and fit. It's not as good as the first one, but it's workable. So I'm going to clean it up and also weld it completely. So I'll see you guys in a little bit with the finished product. All right, here we are for the second time around. It fits great. The clamp will be able to hold on to it because it has enough surface area. And it's not perfect by any means, but hell yeah, I'm proud of this. This is only my second time really welding aluminum. And to say that I did it rather than a shop will mean the absolute world to me. So I'm super proud of this. And now we will go ahead and work on the blow-off valve as well as the intake air temperature sensor bung. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so here it is all finished up. I don't have any clamps on it because I'm still working in the engine bay on some stuff, so I just need to pop the charge pipe on and off in order to gain access. But I tested with the hood closed, and everything matches up like it should. So we have no interference issues. It looks great, and hopefully it performs as good as it looks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this whole little conversion that I just did, moving from the old eBay setup to the current Treadstone setup, and we're about to see how it does. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys posted whenever we make it over to the dyno, or I guess when we make it out to the track. So see you guys next time.